You're listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast with your hosts, Emily
and Jason. You gonna do a little ditty for us? You gonna sing? You gonna...
I just had my first voice lesson. Jason bought me voice lessons for my birthday, and while that sounds a little underhanded,
you asked for it a long time ago.
You really can't sing. I bought you lessons.
That is not what went through my head.
It has been one of my deepest desires to be able to sing well, and I've heard that you can learn to sing. It is a teachable skill. Personally, I feel like it's a little more of a natural.
Well, it seems like everybody you meet who can sing has been able to sing since they were like 3.
Yeah, I mean,
they're just these...
the people that I know who can sing well, you included, did never take voice lessons. It just came naturally. And mine does not. Never has. And I have always felt really sad that when I'm singing lullabies to my children at night, it doesn't sound nice. It doesn't sound nice.
It does sound nice. What are you saying?
It sounds like...
sweet.
Okay, it sounds like a mom who doesn't know how to sing singing. You know, a little off key.
No, you can carry a tune. Perfectly good singer. But the lesson's kind of cool. What?
Acceptable for
singing
someone who
to your
can't
children
sing.
in bed.
I mean, I'm okay with that. Whenever I've sung with other people, like our Forest Friends group went Christmas caroling last year, and I could hear that I was the only one really throwing off the entire vibe. I mean, the children were singing with us as well, but all the moms had beautiful voices. And it's not like I'm sitting here comparing myself, woe is me. It's like, wow, I really can't sing. And one of my friends, she has a beautiful voice. It's actually the girl who's singing our intro and outro to the podcast. I love her voice.
Not on YouTube, though. Copyright issues. Can't figure that out. Sorry.
Anyway, she can't do a cartwheel. She's never been able to do a cartwheel. She cannot do a cartwheel. And she was asking me if I wanted...
listen up. Get her cartwheel lessons for her next birthday.
She was asking if I wanted to do a duet. And I was like, listen, yes, I would love to be able to do a duet. But you can't do a cartwheel. And I can't sing. And that's just how it is.
Okay, that's kind of a weird
No,
jump.
It's like a natural thing.
Hey, you want to do a duet sometime? Excuse me, you can't do a cartwheel.
That's not how the conversation went exactly. It's like, I think
Do you want to start a circus with me?
That's how it feels. I think some people have a very natural inclination to certain talents. Cartwheels happen to be one of mine. And
how do you feel about a trapeze?
But anyway, maybe I'll teach her to do a cartwheel and I'll learn to sing a duet. We're going to sing My Rifle, My Pony, and Me. You love that song.
Really?
That's the song that we picked. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite song of all time.
Yeah. So buckle up. We'll sing it for you.
Can I whistle in the background?
Kind of funny. Like in my lesson, the lady was like, is there any singer that you particularly like that you would like to sound like? And I don't really listen to adult music. So I said,
that phase of
my
life.
friend, I want to sound like my friend. She's got a pretty voice here. Let me play it for you. So I played her song and her face was like, yeah, you'll never sound like that.
No.
You're not going to Paris.
No, she didn't say that.
She was sweet, but she was like, she does have a really natural. And so I was like, okay, I don't know, like Zooey Deschanel. I love her voice.
Yeah.
It kind of has that same like raspy timbre, like Ella Fitzgerald.
George Michael. I don't know.
And so anyway, but whenever I was singing for her, she said, I think I do hear some of that graveliness.
What do you think she would have said to you if you're like, I really love Scott Stapp from Creed. I really want to sound like the Creed lead singer.
Like. Or if I was like, I want to sound like Rihanna. Is that how you say her name?
I guess.
Yeah, that's what Beyonce.
The guy from Nickelback. Never made it as a one man.
I think I actually could sing like the guy from Nickelback.
What if that's just what you go for?
Who sings with arms wide open? Is that Creed?
Yeah.
Okay, kind of the same sound.
Under the sunlight.
See, I've got it. Welcome to this place. I'll give you. Is that how it goes? I don't know. Show you everything.
With arms wide open.
You know who I can really sound like is the singer from Blue October?
Some kind of light
at the end of this tunnel we're in.
I feel like we've gone off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
Plus, that's pretty obscure. I don't know how many people. It's Blue October.
Well, people would know that calling you. And
I will keep calling you to see.
Clearly, I haven't mastered my voice lesson.
There's a funny story to that. One time, there's an acoustic version to that. It sounds kind of romantic and it's really sweet. And I had it playing for you when you were coming back down the stairs after putting the kids down, and I was just trying to be sweet. I was cleaning the kitchen, playing that song, and you're like, Jason, that was my previous boyfriend's song. I'm like, oh, mood destroyed.
I love that song though.
It's a good song.
I mean,
it brings me back to being friends with your old boyfriend. We went to elementary school
They
together.
did. Actually, one of Jason's favorite junk foods is Cheez-Its. I know in the videos you're always saying it's Oreos, but really,
I mean,
it's
I could
Cheez-Its. I mean, how many
Oreos.
years has it been since you've had Cheez-Its? Though?
At least 2 months.
What?
I sneak them. No. Actually, when I worked at Mr. Cool, they were in
food for me.
No, I don't.
Okay.
At Mr. Cool, they had a snack machine, and
you get back
Cheez-Its
to Cheez-Its.
were kind of my go-to sometimes.
Yeah. So anyway, his mom introduced you to Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
He's forever in
third
our
grade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Cheez-Its and I had a connection strong enough that I would have found them eventually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't need his mom to find Cheez-Its. It would have. Well, my parents always bought the off-brand, and it was like, you know, it's fine. Best choice.
A little cardboard.
A little cardboardy.
Cardboard.
You know, but then you get a real Cheez-It, and it's like, what is this?
See, I had access to a lot of Cheez-Its. I think Cheez-Its might be owned by Keebler, and my dad was a Keebler man. Or there's
Your dad was a Keebler
maybe
elf?
it's Nabisco. I can't remember.
Your dad would go to work and live
I got access
really small
to
in the
Cheez-Its.
tree, baking all the Keebler products. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
You had all the good food because your dad
I
swapped
had
some
the
jobs
name brand junk food.
Yeah.
I did.
DiGiorno,
Definitely.
Keebler.
And then also the being able to switch with other vendors. I got.
Ooh.
Yeah. Nobody's switching Best Choice back there.
Why
We're
couldn't
getting
they-
Starbucks coffee.
Are there organic vendors out there?
There are.
So
Sure.
there's the
Unless there's
junk food vendor equivalent of I'll swap you an organic avocado for.
No, the grocery stores are just getting produce from the truck.
Okay, I don't know how it works, but I mean those are truck people. I got some avocados that are a little too old. There's a bushel.
I don't know.
Of. I'll trade you for some mango.
Anyway.
No, is that not a thing? I mean,
maybe. I wasn't on that side.
Yeah.
Not on that side of the aisle.
Well, they don't do that in Western Kentucky. They barely have organic food.
That's why I'm so grateful for Azure Standard.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. It was a little shaky there for a little bit because you have to hit a certain threshold.
It's shaky every month.
Is
here.
it every month so far? Well, last month did great, I think, but so it's tenuous.
Yeah. We never know if we're gonna get it. Come on, people.
Don't fail us, Western Kentucky people. Order your Azure Standard right now, please. Put in your order so we make sure we have some quality food.
I met a lady and I was telling her about this whole thing, and she said, I think I need to be part of something a little more pedestrian.
What does that mean?
No, that stood out in my mind.
What? What context?
I was telling her how I order the food from Azure Standard, and then you have to go to the drop and you have to pick it up. And I don't know. She said, I think I need something a little more pedestrian.
I feel like she's talking above my head. I have no idea what she's saying. See, I'm thinking like, you want to walk to the store?
Or like, I think she wanted the groceries to be delivered to her house, maybe.
Oh.
I'm not sure. I'm not pedestrian, apparently.
I've been a pedestrian.
Yeah. I've almost been hit by a car before.
See, that's where we go. It's like, oh, pedestrian. Yeah, I've almost been hit by a car. That's not what I mean.
I got so scolded, too. It was at band, and the water was across the street, and the director was like, now when I say, okay, you can rest and go get some water, I don't want you running to the water. But man, we were on a blacktop. The sun was beating down. I was hot. I gave it my all. I had to run for the water. I took off running. I mean, like, I just did not listen to him.
Yeah.
And a car was coming.
There's a fundamental flaw to this whole situation.
What?
Don't put the water across the street.
Yeah. Why are we practicing on a blacktop parking lot?
Put the water in the parking lot, not across the street. Hey, guys, you see that thing over there you really want, you really need? You're going to need it a lot in the next hour. It's across the street where traffic is, a very high traffic area. Don't go across the street.
No,
until
don't
I
run.
tell you can't. Don't run across the street.
Look both ways. I mean, very
Put
basic.
the water in the parking lot. No issue. You don't have to tell high school kids don't run in the street if everything they need is there in the parking lot.
You are very logical, Jason.
No, that was just idiotic, if I may say.
You may not.
I hope you're listening to this, whoever you were.
He is not. I can guarantee he is not listening to this.
Get an email later. I was that guy. I put it across the street because... Did you have a magical childhood? That's a loaded question. I had aspects of a childhood that was slightly magical at times, but it was of my own making, I think.
Next question.
Okay. Do you think children are pretty good at making their own magical childhoods?
Some. And I think when parents intervene too much, they can really kill a lot of creativity and a lot of opportunity for magic.
Mm-hmm.
Because as an adult, we just can't get our brain there.
Yeah.
Like, kids are so imaginative, and they think of things that we could never think of. They're just so creative. They view the world in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we are trying to control that, and I think we like try to shove their childhood in a certain direction, we can kind of ruin it.
I think as parents, we have this idea that we have to create this grand childhood that is just completely unforgettable, that every moment has to be unforgettable, or we failed as a parent. And so there's such a temptation for parents to just make everything they can magnificent. And if you don't, you feel guilty about it. For instance, we are doing a birthday party for Oaks, who's turning 7 on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't think we've fallen into this trap. I've actually fallen more into the trap than you, in that it's a Boxcar Children birthday.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't actually turn to Tum Tum and Nutmeg, but you wanted to like find a old bunk bed or something and like drape something over it to make it look like as much of a boxcar as you possibly can on the cheap.
Yeah.
And
But I couldn't find any bunk beds under $200.
Right.
So like my cheap little fun idea that I saw online somewhere on a blog from 2003, I couldn't make it happen on the cheap.
Yeah.
So then I was talking to you about it.
2003. It's like, yeah, we need some updates here, people, to kind of go with the economy. Well, this birthday party's only going to cost you $12,000.
For real.
You know, it's like, okay, I'm out. Guess we're, we might get a cake.
I mean, I'm making it.
Yeah, I know. Well, that project turned into something different.
Well, now we're like building a full-blown boxcar.
Of course, you wanted to forage all the wood from the woods and like use branches to. And like, no, we have to buy lumber. And
I'm okay with that. It's been good. It's been going really well. We're not handy at all, and so
at all.
It has taken both of our brains.
Basically,
and it has like even with a sliding door and we haven't gotten the door on.
We're still working on the sliding door.
It's happening today. Painting it bright red. I have this giant red box. I tried to look online for a nice red color. It is so bright. Have you walked out there today?
I've seen
like,
it.
Oh,
it's bright. Yeah, it'll fade.
Yeah.
But it's out of this idea of we need to make this birthday party magical. We want to make him happy. We want it to be authentic.
He's also a little bit of a persistent child. I mean, He has been very insistent that we have a real boxcar with a sliding door.
Well, the problem is now we're setting expectations. We're like, all right, next year you're getting a jumbo jet. It's a little much.
I don't think
we're going to go through the whole Industrial Revolution. You're kidding a real robot, son.
No. We can't make that happen. We can't, and we're really pretty good about keeping it simple. It's a party in our backyard, and he doesn't have a playhouse.
I know, but this boxcar has taken us a better part of a week to create, and that's all we've worked on for the party so far. It's just like
I stayed up and made a piñata, and I have.
Oh, that's true.
You think that's all we've worked on?
It's all I've worked on.
Yeah, you don't know what goes on over here.
Well, exactly. There's so much effort put into this instead of just like, hey, we're having cake and a couple of games and some like. My point is, I think there's a place for that, but all I'm saying is that I think that there's a trap that you could fall into easily, and every time you have to one up yourself.
But I don't think so, because first of all, our kids don't get that much, especially throughout the year. Mm-hmm. They're not just the type of kids that we're taking to the store randomly and buying toys and stuff. Now that they get allowance, they have wanted to spend their allowance on things that I don't really love, but
yeah.
Like a Spider-Man costume. But I don't think that we're falling into a trap, because it's still simple. It's like a little wooden structure. It's not their fault lumber prices are crazy. That's not crazy. That's not a crazy thing to do. Kids have playhouses.
I guess I'm looking at the
price of it.
The receipts.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
goodness.
is a little ridiculous. We're up to like $400 now.
Yeah.
On this boxcar. I'm like, we could have had a birthday party at, I don't know,
Chuck E. Cheese.
But we could have had like a birthday party experience somewhere for that cost, but then that's over and the boxcar stays forever.
I think we have justified it that like when he's done caring about it as a boxcar / cabin / whatever it becomes in his imagination, that we'll eventually try to turn it into a treehouse.
Yeah. I'm actually on board to do that pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, this has not given me confidence to actually create
it, though.
Yeah, with a lot of frustration on my part.
You get weird about, you're like,
weird?
This door is crooked. I'm like, it's a boxcar for children. Who cares?
It's the boxcar children.
No, you're like, you're focusing on something, trying to make it so perfect, but that's not what makes the magic.
I want it to be authentic.
To me, I'm like, we could have just hung up sheets on some trees, which is what I was trying.
Lame.
But that's what I was trying to tell you that I wanted to do.
I'm telling you, like, I fell into the trap.
You just said I fell into the trap. It really was you.
I fell into the trap. I wanted it to be magical. I spent $400 on a boxcar and still not finished.
Yeah.
His birthday's on Saturday.
We better get out there.
What are we doing in here? We're out of time.
I know. I mean, right now we do feel like we have a lot of things going on. And I was out there yesterday painting the boxcar. I have a speech in less than a month and it's not written. And
just make it about the boxcar.
And these are the plans for the boxcar. We
Great.
didn't have plans. We just made it up.
This is a great time for the plug of the Wellness Collective. Sold out in person. However, in the link below in the description, if you're wanting to get tickets to hear Emily speak at the Wellness Collective, I'll have that link for you below.
You can, yeah.
I don't know much about the details, but you can look at the link and there'll be the dates and times and everything else that it'll be available. I'm assuming it'll be available after the recording as well. I don't think it's just a live thing, but I'll double check that. Anyway, now back to our show. I'm not necessarily worried about it becoming a huge trap for us. We actually do this cool thing where we have an off year for our kids. So we do like kind of a more elaborate birthday party, 1 year. And then the next year, it's just a couple of friends and family gathering. It's not some elaborate, we're not building you a boxcar every year, kid, you know? And I really like that. I think that's really cool because but it ends up that there's a big birthday party every year because offset.
Yes. So Alder's birthday is in April and then Oaks is in September. So,
but they're offset.
Yeah.
So it's not 2 big parties a year.
Yeah.
And we say big parties. We just mean where we put
we're having
more
12
effort
kids
into
in our backyard.
Well, I'm saying it's
like
more
a big
effort
party.
into a theme and like decorations and stuff like that.
Except on the off years, the last 2 years, they have gotten a little more crazy. Like our neighbor's a clown and Alder, it was his off year. He still wanted a clown. He asked for a clown show or something. Yeah. And so we just had our neighbor come over and do a clown show on our deck.
Yeah.
Just for us. But
that wasn't that crazy.
No, but it still costs a little bit to,
worth
have
it.
him come over.
Jethro.
And then the year before that, it was Oaks' off year, but he was like, I really want a little toot birthday, which is
So we got him a yacht.
No, we rented a pontoon boat for the day. That's really not crazy, but people
and it just
do
had
that kind of stuff.
A friend, like one family friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Way too expensive, though.
That was expensive.
I didn't expect that. That was a few $100.
Yeah.
It's like,
rent a pontoon for like 3 hours.
That was unexpected. Not his fault.
No.
But
like in his mind, we're just going out on a boat.
In my mind, I'm like, did we get enough brand deals this month? I'm just kidding. No. So I don't think, or I could be wrong, but I don't think it's a trap for us so far. However, I do wonder, do you think that there's a lot of pressure socially, especially through social media, to have these elaborate things and are we doing these elaborate things for our kids, or are we doing it, not us, I'm not saying us, are people doing it to show other people how elaborate their life is? It's kind of more of a question, again, to get back into the social media just makes everything look very grand and all that, but like, are we one-upping ourselves? Are we doing that at the expense of our children's lives and experiences? Are we doing it for our kids, ourselves?
I think most people are doing it for their kids, but especially like with schools and, I don't know, people having birthday parties, and your kids go to a birthday party and then it's like, wow, that parent did something really great. And then like, what is their expectation of their birthday party? You want them to know that they're special too, and they deserve a good birthday party.
Son, we're having the off-Broadway of The Lion King show up at your birthday party next year. That's what the Smiths did.
I don't really think most people are doing it for social media these days. I think it's really, they want their kid to be happy and they feel like more is better. But we should have learned by now that more doesn't equal better. More equals setting higher expectations, which sets them up for disappointment in the future.
Does it set them up? So we're talking about birthday parties in particular, but like, I'm talking about
just
any kind of
situation. I mean, I'm sort of thinking about like Christmas. People fall into the trap of
you got to spend
more
money
for Christmas.
Yeah.
Which things do cost a lot of money, but I think if you keep kids' expectations low, then they're only going to know one way.
Mhm.
Like, they're only going to know that. What gets tricky is when they start talking to other kids about what they got. Then, yeah. Because I remember as a kid hearing what my friends got and being like, wow, my Christmas was lame. But they were getting way too much. It was like so extravagant.
Right.
But even last year, so a friend of ours gave our boys some really generous and beautiful gifts, like large gift bundle.
Yeah.
And looking at what we had set aside for them and then giving them that, we gave it to them on Christmas morning. It was like, wow, we're lame.
Sort of overshadowed what we were doing.
It did.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And now they're not going to get that again. And I hope that they don't feel disappointed.
Yeah.
I think if you're just really thoughtful with your gifts, give them something that they really want. I don't know, wrap it in a big box.
That's setting expectations. This giant box. Here's a little
pocket knife.
wooden figure. But it goes beyond gifts, though, right? I mean, it's experiences. It's so honestly, I think what people may not realize is that what makes a magical childhood is not the big events in your life. It's more so the day-to-day. But there's also a trap there, too. I think, in particular, stay-at-home moms feel a big pressure, or just any mom, really, feels a pressure to, like, be doing these elaborate arts and crafts with their kids. Like, I could be wrong. I don't know. But
yeah, moms feel like every moment needs to be magical. Every moment needs to be special, which I kind of feel that, but I'm also like, well, I gotta wash the dishes. Sorry, kid.
yeah.
So I don't really put a lot of guilt on myself because I think the important thing is investing in your kids when you can, pouring into them when you can. I just read, this lady sent me this reel and she was like, there's so much good advice in the comments of this reel. And basically the reel was just moms of older kids, leave a comment of what you wish you could tell your younger self. And almost everyone in the comments said, when your kid walks into the room, you should light up. Make sure you're smiling at your children. Like one lady set a goal to smile, like an ear-to-ear smile, 5 times a day. Are you doing that? I mean, it is. Think about it, though.
When you're incredibly frustrated, I just imagine
not like a passive-aggressive smile.
20 years from now, like my mom, every time I walked into the room, my mom had this psycho smile. I thought she was going to kill me. I thought every time I walked into the room, she was just going to kill me.
No.
Hi, kid. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, I personally think you need to get an office space or somewhere away. Your father energy is a little heavy.
What does that mean?
You know what it means.
My office space needs to be 3 hours away. Come in on the weekends.
Dads are different. Mothers bring a certain joy.
We're built different.
So I just think, I think that it's okay for kids to be bored and you don't have to make every moment magical. The important thing is pouring into them. Sit down, read to them every day as much as you can.
Wow, you're going through my notes and you haven't even read them.
It's because I'm a good mom.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. And do your best to be kind. I don't know. My kids were helping me paint the boxcar yesterday. And they were making a mess. I don't know what I expected. I don't know what I like. There's this side of me that's like, it doesn't matter. Let go of perfection. It's okay. The important thing is they're making this memory they'll remember forever. Hey, Mom, remember that time we built a boxcar?
And then there's that other side of you that's like,
there's the other side.
Hold the paintbrush right.
Yeah.
You're holding it wrong. Don't put it on your nose.
Not like that.
Is that not a part of you?
No, well, you interrupted me. I was getting there. Then the other side of me is like the one at the end when there's big gobs of drips and there's like paint all over the ground and it's just a mess. And I'm like, this is why I didn't want you to help. Those words came out of my mouth.
Ooh.
Like, that is so, because when they first asked, I was like, no, I think it's a mom. I think this is a mom craft. Like, this is just for moms to do.
Starting to lose some of the magic.
I felt guilty. So then later I was like, you know what, guys, you can help me paint. That'd be great. But then afterwards, I'm like, this is why I didn't want you to help.
Yeah.
So then I had to apologize and be like, that wasn't very nice of me. I was just feeling frustrated. And I said something I didn't mean. I'm so sorry. I'm glad that you enjoyed
My mom
helping
was
me.
always crying and apologizing. And she smiled like a psycho from ear to ear every time I walked into the room. She was emotionally unstable. Because you listen to all these advice in the comments.
Yeah.
It's like,
just trying all the things.
I would pick up my child every time they walked into the room and swing them around. Got a little weird when they were 18. Never mind. That's my attempt to be funny. It wasn't funny. I'm getting a death stare. That's weird.
Well, you're kind of giving the vibe that I'm like over here emotionally unstable.
No, I'm saying it's funny because
I get it. I get it.
I'm taking the place of the kid years later.
Yeah, I got it.
Because all these moms and dads are taking advice on
Mm-hmm.
social media. And I smile from ear to ear every time they walk into a room. If my mom did that, I'd be like, what's wrong?
Not that, well, yeah, maybe because she wasn't doing it from the beginning.
Don't talk about my mother.
Anyway, I'm agreeing with you, Jason. I'm saying you're right. The important thing is the moments in between the big moments. The big moments are important, but it's really all the moments in between.
Then that's what the kids typically remember, I would think, over the course of their life is the...
I don't really remember the day-to-day of my childhood. I do remember that my parents had a skating birthday party for me.
You would remember if they were, like, they're going to remember that you read to them all the time. They're going to remember that you spent day after day with them, teaching them new things and taking them on foraging trips. That's a day-to-day thing. And that makes a kid's life magical when they get to do those things.
I do think that in the moment, kids don't necessarily recognize the magic happening around them. Like, anything becomes dull to you if you're doing it all the time.
Children are the most ungrateful beings on earth. My goodness.
Say that.
No, actually, Oaks is incredibly grateful. He's like, I can't tell you how many times this week he's come up to us and be like, thank you for building the boxcar, Mom and Dad. Like, it's just over and over.
Thank you for spending the time to do this. Thank you. I know.
Really
like,
sweet.
He recognizes it, but then he will walk in to the boxcar and be like, it's a little plain. Or, I think it'll be better when we get dishes in here.
Yeah.
Are you going to lay down pine straw for us? No, we're not putting down pine straw for bedding. Sorry.
But part of the magic with a boxcar in particular is that number one, they have it for the party. But on this whole thing, we've gotten to teach them how to use a drill. We've gotten to teach them how to make measurements for cutting wood. Oaks even helped me cut wood. It was really cool. And I think even he'll remember those kinds of things. And I think that that's just part of the overall magic. But I don't know. There's a Huffington Post article, which Huffington Post, I don't know anything about them. But the title is, I'm done making my kids' childhood magical. It's very bright and cheery of them. However...
Did you write this?
No, I don't write for the Huffington Post, dear.
I was just saying it sounded like you. Cynicism.
You think I'm cynical?
Yes. Decidedly, yes.
Really?
It's funny, but yeah.
Cynicism's a bad look. I'm not really cynical.
I was reading...
My humor, I have cynical humor.
Okay.
But I don't feel like I have a cynical outlook on life. I'm actually very optimistic about life. I think my humor is cynical.
Yeah. Well, the other day we went to this picnic and they had a yard sale there. And I went into the yard sale, and there were all these old kids' books. And one of the books was Fairly Stupid Tales. Sorry about using that
language.
word. I know.
Oh, man. We have to make this explicit.
Anyway, I saw it, and I was like, oh, I loved this book as a kid. And I can't believe that I got excited about it because, like, I want to fill my kids with beauty. I want to read them things that are beautiful and wonderful and inspiring. But I got really excited about this book that I liked as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading it to him, and it's so cynical. The whole book is cynical. And I just read them a couple stories. And every time I was reading it, you were like laughing so hard.
It's great.
You could see it coming, the ending of the stories.
Like the Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
Or
this frog. Yeah.
if you kiss me, I'll turn into a handsome prince. And then she kisses the frog. And he's like,
gotcha.
Gotcha. And hopped away. That's a great version.
Yeah. So anyway, I am going to be throwing away that book. No one else needs to get it. I will not. I will
no,
not
don't
donate.
throw it away. Leave it for me. I like it. I'll read it every now and then. Tell me how you feel about this. I'm going to read snippets from the article. Sorry, I don't have my paper today.
Eco-friendly, right?
Our printer broke. Anyway. Since when does being a good mom mean you have to spend your days creating elaborate crafts for your children, making sure their rooms are decked out, Pottery Barn IKEA masterpieces worthy of children's magazines, and dressing them to the nines in trendy coordinated outfits?
Okay, well, I've never felt that, and I'm definitely failing there. My kids' room is full of thrifted random things. Got sort of a boat theme going on because there's a cubby in there, and it kind of reminds me of a boat, but my kids definitely look like they're wearing hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I go to events and I'm like, oh, I should be trying harder. My kids look like they're wearing hand-me-downs.
Well, it doesn't help that Alder basically thinks his mouth is on his chest.
He just No, our kids use their shirts as napkins.
Why don't they use the family napkin?
I know. Come on.
We have one out there at dinner.
They just
use it.
Anytime they're doing anything, they're just wiping their hands on their clothes. So yeah, I mean, but I'll change them to go somewhere so they're not so crusty, but they do look hand-me-downed.
Well,
But
so Oaks' clothes are already hand-me-down, and then Alder just gets Oaks'
the hand-me-downs.
clothes.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, kid.
But who cares? I'm not spending $35 on a shirt for a kid. I'm not doing it.
It's important to the child.
No.
They care.
No.
They definitely care. 4-year-olds care how they look.
I will say, I think I've said this before. I like my kids better when they look cute. There's something about it when your child looks cute. But
I love them no matter what they're wearing.
I of course love them. I said like them.
I like them no matter what they're wearing equally.
And this is why
Unless they're wearing overalls, it's so cute. I like them about 10% more.
I know. Overalls just get me. I just love them.
Kid, you wearing overalls? 10% more liking over here. I'm going to treat you better today.
That is not true. I don't treat them any differently based on what they're wearing, but there's just like a little spark of something when they look extra cute.
My overalls? I was hoping we could.
You're always nice to me when I wear my overalls.
This is why I don't want you helping with a boxcar. Wait, I'm wearing overalls.
He was wearing overalls.
Oh, he was. Man, imagine what you would have said if he wasn't. He was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Get out of my face!
I didn't say it like that, okay? It was like there was such a mess, and I'm like mumbling to myself, this is why I didn't want you helping with the boxcar. You know, just like...
You'd be screaming it if he wasn't wearing overalls.
I wasn't doing anything with a happy heart, and
the overalls were a little small on him, so maybe that contributed to the harshness of the moment.
But that's why he was wearing them, because they could be paint clothes.
Yeah, I know. Moving on to the rest of the article, or another part of it. We do not need to make our children's childhood magical. Childhood is inherently magical.
I said that.
Even when it isn't perfect. My childhood wasn't perfect, and we weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination, but my birthdays were still happy because my friends came over. It wasn't about the party bags, perfect decorations, or any of that. We popped balloons, ran around in the backyard, we had cake.
we need to give up balloons, though.
Simple. But when you look back on those times, they were magical.
Yeah, of course. And everybody has this like nostalgic feel for their childhood. So I agree. I do think you can be intentional. And I feel like parents are filling their kids' time with screens a little too much, so they're not having real experiences.
That's a good point. Do you think screen time in general
is robbing magic? Yes.
Robbing our children's, not ours, because not ours. Do you think screen time is robbing children of the magical childhood they otherwise could have? Or is that a nostalgic thought that we have because there wasn't really like tablets and phones and different things in our childhood?
I truly believe that screen time is robbing the magic of childhood because I've said it before. Kids don't know how to play anymore. This is like the first time in history that children don't know how to play. It's an actual issue.
Because they're not allowed to be bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, they don't know how to entertain themselves. They don't know how to play. And that play, that slow time, those moments of play where you were bored and you had to use your imagination and your creativity, that is where the magic is.
Yeah.
And we are, as a generation, stripping our children of that by handing them a tablet.
It's so easy. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to.
It's a babysitter.
Sorry, you don't have to parent when you give your kid a tablet. In the moments that you give your kid a tablet, you don't have to do anything.
And obviously, there are exceptions. And I understand that not everyone can be limited screen time due to issues like our blanket statement. Not everyone can do.
No. I understand that. And
like a lot of kids rely on devices for communication and for.
But that's not what we're talking about.
No, we're talking about
it just being a pacification, strictly for pacification. Screen time is robbing kids of imaginative
the daily magic.
Play.
Yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah.
The average child.
Interesting.
But
well, imagine those videos too, like where that kid like opening, like they watch kids opening toys and stuff. Like that's crazy to me. Kids will watch that for hours. Watching another kid open up toys.
I mean, that would be kind of exciting to see what they got, but then I don't know where you go from there. Like, then don't you want those things? And that's probably the ploy there.
Yeah.
But
sorry, where were you going? You were about to say something, then I accidentally interrupted you.
But I also think that movies and screens can inspire creativity. I mean, you were definitely inspired by movies. It's just the excess of them.
More so as an adult. Yeah. I mean, as
a kid, you played Star Wars and.
I think certainly, movies and television can inspire creativity. But if that's all you're doing, if that is your go-to pacification, that you do go back to the nostalgia of the 90s or whatever, to where what you were able to consume television-wise was limited because it was in a certain time slot. If you saw it, you saw it. If you missed it, you missed it. And sure, people were watching TV all day, every day, whatever, but it's not, you can't stream Coco Melon for 24 hours straight in the 90s or whatever. So that there's this natural limitation of your screen time, at least whatever you have access to.
But we as parents also have to be really conscious of it because we are basically little pacified adults. I mean, we're not looking at Coco Melon. We're looking at Instagram, YouTube, whatever. But yeah, I mean, you have to be conscious of it. And so I do think maybe because of those things, we feel the need to fill the void of magic by doing big things like
Right.
big birthday parties, lots of gifts. Like we're trying to infuse moments with magic that we've missed out on.
So do you think that that's probably a potential, and I know we're shooting from the hip here, but like, is that a potential correlation? Is that kids are so pacified and, in a general sense, when it's used for pacification, kids are so pacified by screen time that the parents, and I just want to reiterate this, the parents have to overcompensate.
Yeah, like they recognize that, and so then they're over.
Even if it's subconscious.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, they're
They have
not,
to make this special. Yeah, they
because
need
you're not
these
having a
memories.
magical childhood watching a show all the time. Interesting. When we make life a grand production, our children become audience members and their appetite for entertainment grows. We are creating a generation of people, or are we creating a generation of people who cannot find the beauty in the mundane?
I was thinking about this the other day, and I have been just as bad as everyone else, not noticing the small pleasures in your day. Like, I love, one of my favorite things is in the fall when a leaf falls into the grass and the sun is shining and it kind of creates this like stained glass effect because the glow of the sun is shining through the color of the leaf. When a leaf falls so perfectly for that to happen, that just like fills me with so much joy. That's one of the things I can think of. So then I was driving down the road and I saw a leaf like fall gently down from the trees, and that also filled me with joy. So I'm like, well, what are the things that are happening every day that I'm not noticing that are like so beautiful, such simple, beautiful moments that are magical? And am I pointing them out to my kids, or do I let them discover them on their own? Like we found little bees sleeping in a flower the other day. It was the sweetest thing. The bees were just asleep and just sitting there staring at them. I felt so much joy. And I think maybe, yeah, we're not noticing all those little things in our life where there's so much beauty.
I really like slip-on shoes. Not having to tie my shoes.
That brings you so much joy.
So much joy.
Mm-hmm.
When I have to have shoes on that I had to tie, my life is turned upside down.
This is why I just go barefoot.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get it.
You don't have to put anything on.
Yeah.
You're just going. Just go. But I do have slip-on shoes.
So I get exactly what you're talking about every time I put on a pair of slip-on shoes.
That's a moment of just like...
It's pure joy.
Pure joy.
This is beautiful.
Well, I noticed you do it earlier. We have some caterpillars in their chrysalis, some monarchs, and you were like, did you see the sparkle on the outside of the chrysalis?
There's like actual fairy sparkles on them.
It's so funny that you have never noticed that.
I've never.
And just seeing you see it was so precious.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
You should see me put on slip-on shoes.
I saw the sparkle.
Have you never watched me put on slip-on shoes? It's the same thing. You do mention
it. No, actually, it's not when you put them on. It's when you have to wear shoes that you have to tie. You always say like, what is this?
What is this?
Our barefoot shoes for the winter, they're wool shoes, and they have this like
the
stretchy elastic. You hate it. Every single time you're putting on your shoes, you're like, I wish I didn't like these shoes so much when they're on.
It's better than having to do the actual tying.
Tying.
Yeah.
I'm worried our kids are not going to know. I mean, Oak's almost 7.
It is 2024. We should not be tying our shoes anymore.
Well, I don't know. He doesn't know how to tie his shoes.
What happened? Back to the Future Part 2.
He can tie a knot.
In Back to the Future Part 2, I'm pretty sure it takes place in 2015. They had shoes that just tied themselves. Mm-hmm. You remember that?
Mm-mm.
Well, it happened. We're way past 2015. We should not be tying our shoes right now. It's 2024. Come on.
But is that a skill we need to let go at the wayside?
No. I mean, they need to learn knots.
Yeah.
We teach them knots. Mm-hmm. It just hasn't been applied to shoes yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different angle.
Yeah,
not.
it is. It's a little
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
When I have like talked to people and talk about skills that kids need, that's something homeschool moms do, or at least in my group. Like, what do my kids need to know? Like, what is the accepted standard? You know,
How to
by
say
a certain
hi. How to go up to a stranger and talk to them.
Well, surprisingly, they can't. They talk to adults really well, but sometimes I do see a little like homeschooledness come out in them, and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Because maybe they're overwhelmed by too many like sensory things. We live a super quiet life, so like, how do I desensitize them?
That's interesting. Yeah, because they don't get the
Like
constant
hustle, bustle, loud, ringing.
Yeah, busyness of a typical daycare or school day, which, you know, when you're in that environment, you do get used to it. No matter if you live in a big city, you get used to a big city. You live in the country, you get used to the country. That's why a lot of, you know, country folks hate the city. A lot of city folks hate the country. It's like, just, it's too much silence for the busy people sometimes. You know, it's interesting. Yeah. Didn't mean to hijack that, but
nope, I don't mind.
Yeah. Last thing on the article. We constantly hear that children these days don't get enough exercise. Perhaps the most underused of all their muscles is the imagination, as we seek desperately to find a recipe for something that already exists. I would like to point out the imagination is not a muscle. It is not part of the muscle groups, any muscle group that I could find. I looked.
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
Okay, good. Jason, it's called a figure of speech, right?
I take things very literally.
I was thinking about how, you know, I've had this idea a few times, and I've seen people do videos of it where they like make the movement of children for like an hour just to see how tired they are. And I've thought, if I just want to be in really great shape, I could just do everything the kids are doing, like jump on the couch. And,
that actually sounds like a really great video.
People have made videos like that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's already done.
It's overdone.
Okay. But just to, if I wanted to get more exercise in, I could just live like them.
Or if you wanted to live like the modern day child.
Well, maybe.
For those not watching the video, I just stuck my phone in front of my face and sat there. It's very offensive.
Yeah. It depends on the kid.
I'm kidding.
I think even some kids who have full access to screens get bored with the screen, so then they just want to go play, right?
So then they just pester their parents.
It depends on the personality of the child.
Well, I think with all things, there is a balance to be had. We're certainly not advocating, make your child's life as boring as possible. No, certainly not. But there is a balance there. And it's also not to say that you shouldn't ever go overboard with experiences. I think there is a time and place for just going crazy.
Yeah,
on something.
But if you go crazy all the time, then going crazy doesn't mean the same thing.
Crazy is just normal at that point. So, yeah, I mean, build a boxcar every now and then. Do those cool things. But really, at the end of the day, what we're looking at is the magic of life is having a good, intentional childhood.
Yeah.
Giving your kids a good, intentional childhood. Being a good parent. Smiling when they come into a room. Not like a psycho, but just smiling at them when they come into a room. Reading to them on a daily basis. Going out in nature.
I think just making sure that your kids know that you're interested in what they're interested in.
I think that's huge.
Is a huge, huge part.
Or that you're interested in them.
Yeah.
Both. Like, I love that. I love that. I think that is a huge, because as parent, I see it with me all the time. I get busy. I'm focused on work, and I can so easily just be like, please go do something else. I can't right now.
Well, it happened to us yesterday. We were working on the boxcar, and they're like, "Can you push us in the hammock? Can you push us in the hammock?"
No, I'm building a boxcar. Get out of my face. I didn't say that. But like that's what it's
not
like.
far off. You were so frustrated about the door yesterday. And you're like, "No, can't you see I'm building you a boxcar?"
And it's like I'm ruining the magic right there.
Ruining it.
It's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point of building something like that to create magic for your child if you're like making them feel awful while you're building their magic? I'm creating magic for you. Get away.
Yeah.
It's like, that's terrible. I'm a horrible person.
I mean, here I am. This is why I don't want you to help me. Like our poor kids.
None of this was nearly as bad as it sounds in this podcast. I think
we weren't as extreme, but
Yeah.
still, just the idea. I did mumble that,
It was
and
a little
you
bit of
did say like, "No, I'm busy working on the boxcar right now. I can't push you in the hammock."
it was a
And
bit
they
of a
were-
wake-up moment yesterday. And it really inspired this episode. Honestly, part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason. Like, yeah, we should talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Well, love your kids, and they'll
Try
love
again.
you back.
Wake up.
Just kidding.
Try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not try to love them. Love comes.
Try to
easy.
love your kids if you can. If you can't, just smile at them broadly when they walk into the room. I'm so glad you're here.
Speaking from experience, Jason.
No, I it's an ebb and flow. My kids.
Your love is an ebb and flow.
No, it is not. My love is strong for them. My patience is an ebb and flow for
Yeah.
sure. It's an interesting age, 4 and 7. There's a lot of hitting. Not for me. No, just them. They're hitting each other a lot. They get into these little fights. It's so funny. They're best friends and they are worst enemies at the same time. And that is what frustrates me the most day to day. It's just their little fights. It's like, you guys were just getting along for like 2 hours and all of a sudden.
No, that's what happens. They're like playing a game and then one it like initiates something by, I don't know, shoving the other, and then the other one's chasing them, and then that one turns around and
It's
like, I don't even, they get in this like little moment of chaos and they can't control their, I don't know.
And then all out anger.
Yeah.
And then just, yeah. You hope you get to it before it gets too far.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
We'll see in 15 years if we instilled the magic.
In 15 years, come back to this episode, leave a comment, tell us if we were right or wrong.
We're all learning together.
We're all in this together. Was that Creed?
That one?
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did that with Arms Wide
Together.
Open tune. That's a mashup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast. This was a really fun episode. I hope that you gleaned some wisdom from it. I don't know what I'm saying.
And be sure to check out the links in the description and show notes because we have some really awesome sponsors down there and information about Emily speaking at the Wellness Collective and we have other events that you're going to be at this fall.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, check it out. I'm excited. If you're listening to this and you're going to be there, I'm really excited to meet you.
all right. I will not be there. It's for women.
You'll be there.
I'm going to be there
I thought you were going
at
to
the
be there.
event.
I thought you were going to set up a table. No?
Am I?
Okay.
I don't know if I am.
TBD on Jason.
Be determined. I'll be in the area.
Yeah.
The Airbnb, I guess.
All right. See you later.
Bye.